Please be advised that the opinions and views expressed are that of the individual dancer and not necessarily a reflection or representation of the host. Any advice given in the podcast should be taken as friendly conversation and not professional help. All video content has been provided and approved by the individuals and should be viewed under viewers' own discretion. Let's get into today's podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Chavonne, your host, and I'm joined with the lovely Elvic here. And today we are talking about working at the Grand Prix this year and his perspective on it and how he got there. So without further ado, welcome, Elvic. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Well, why
That's
don't
good.
you introduce yourself and then we can go into all the questions and everything like that.
Yeah. My name's Elvic. I've been dancing in the world for 9 years now. I've been teaching for the majority of it, but I've been trying to perform on the side with an entertainment company that sends me out to events like the Grand Prix, the Australian Open, Crown Casino. Uh, and I'm predominantly a hip hop dancer, and I've been branching out into commercial and lyrical to keep my passion alive. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Well, what was your role at the Grand Prix? Like, what were you hired essentially to do? Were you a freelance one, like working the crowd, or were you doing routines? Like, talk us through that.
Yeah. So at the Grand Prix, we were roving performers. We were dressed up in bright mirrored costumes with a full helmet over our head. It made seeing and breathing just that much easier. Uh, yeah, it was definitely a cool experience to see both the racers who did win the race, the Grand Prix race, and to see people so close up, and to make people smile as well.
Yeah.
We were part of an entertainment company that sends us out to those corporate events. And it was nice to be even dancing on stage next to a DJ. We were dancing to a big audience, like a full festival vibe. That was really cool. Um, yeah, that was pretty much it. Just taking photos, just creating a nice, lovely ambience to the race cars.
So good. And do you have like a choice of what costume you wore, or is it more so that that's what the client kind of
Uh,
wanted and stuff like
yeah,
that?
it was more for what the client ordered. So we were part of these specifically licensed mirrored racing costumes that we wore a couple years ago,
Yeah,
and then it was the return of these mirrored races costumes again. And
yeah.
I also realized, like it's definitely tight as I grew in. Yeah, I mean, like I definitely grew in muscle mass, of course.
Yeah,
So like it's been a couple of years since I've worn this one for the second time,
yeah.
and it was great to like be involved in an event such as literally at the Grand Prix. It was really cool, and honestly, it was cool to move in as well, and it was just cool to see myself come into a different character, uh, rather than the usual, like hip hop vibe.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the
yeah.
costume makes the character.
Yeah, no, amazing. And talk us through like the costume, like how, I know you said it's breathing is great and everything like that. And then
Yeah.
how do you navigate those costumes? Do you have someone chaperoning you to make sure that you don't walk into anything, or is it kind of like all on you, kind of to make sure you're, not going to walk into anything or walk over anything or fall or that kind of
Mm.
stuff?
Yeah. So now we're getting a chaperone, which is great. Yeah.
Amazing.
But majority of the time, once you get used to the costume, you do tend to dress up yourself as much as you can. And
Yeah.
let's say for the back, I need someone to zip me up. I will ask either my coworker at the time or the
Mhm.
chaperone. Or if I do a solo gig, I wish myself luck and hope for the best. So yeah, those ones. It is definitely like depending on how tight the costume is. Majority of what I wear is pretty much a full suit, so my head's covered as well. It can be quite physically demanding on the cardio side because sometimes the costume may only weigh, sure, 500 grams or a kilo extra, but for 40-minute rove in external heat with wind and everything, it's a lot to take in as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, of course, you find your strategies around it by obviously breathing as much as you can, taking slow, deep breaths, and readjusting your mask and your helmet to be in the right position for yourself would
Yeah.
be the best way to do it. And peripheral vision wise, you don't get that.
You
So
don't get a
yeah,
visual.
it's kind of like you have to twist your head like this or your whole upper torso. And it makes the gig a little bit more exhilarating just to see,
Yeah.
cool, how do you survive this particular gig? Did you fall over? I've never fell over yet, thank
Yeah.
goodness. That will be a challenge to get back up because I honestly would have to do a whole gymnastic thing up because I don't think I can actually crouch go into a crouching position and then
Yeah.
stand up normally. But they are fun to wear, and honestly, like once we do our routine, we're a little bit more in a freer costume
Yeah.
of movement, which is good. So therefore, we can full pop, we can still lock, we do actual choreo transitions, and yeah, like we have to make sure the costume is obviously safe, of course,
Yes.
and by doing so, we have to make sure we also keep ourselves hygienically safe and wipe
Mhm.
down, have our innards, and yeah, it does make you sweat a lot, a
Yeah.
lot of cardio,
Yeah.
especially when you're doing routine straight into Rove. That's a whole no break, straight into taking pictures.
You're like,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, why don't you talk us through like your day? So, you say like a routine and then roving. So why don't you talk us through like like waking up, getting dressed, and then how
yeah,
long you have on, how long you have off, that kind of stuff.
yeah. So pretty much from I guess the morning, I would make sure I have a fairly heavy carb diet, with
Mhm.
lots of fruits, of course, because you won't get much time to properly eat. And I personally don't tend to eat that much when I'm working in that sort of costume because I don't want to feel too bloated.
Yeah.
Also, there's not many chances to go to the bathroom once you're a half-made costume. So it's kind of like you take what you can get,
Yeah.
and cool, like like how you work and with your own body wise, like cool, I'll eat right after the gig, but I should have enough fruits and nuts to sustain myself as well.
Yeah.
Um, you don't want to have meals during the set because obviously you could. I can't perform with a full
Yeah.
stomach.
Yeah.
But from the morning I would have a heavy carb sort of protein sort of diet into either during the day just going to my own rehearsal of knowing the choreo of positions where it's at, or literally go to work in my retail/teaching job, then straight into the gig, and that's a whole day as well. So in the morning I do have, or not even in the morning, the night before I make sure I have all my costumes in place because by the time I wake up, I'm honestly quite on already with
Yeah.
what I need to do. Because if I forget something, I personally can't drive all the way back. Um,
Yeah. Like you forgot.
and yeah, exactly. And if I do, I adapt. And that's what makes you a great professional if you can adapt to each situation. It's
Mhm.
a good thing to even if you're working with someone new and they may not know the routine, you just like cool, just take it breath by breath.
Yeah.
And we'll just go over the choreo because in the end, like if you're as good as you are prepared.
Mhm.
Um, and I've gone down the path of going like through the whole day. Like if I have a rehearsal in my head mentally and physically during the day, then going to the actual place, um, I can already see like, cool, where's my stage? Like once you have the gig, suss the
Yeah.
stage immediately. And then we also find the green room, of course, but sometimes you don't even get a tech rehearsal. So
Yeah.
rocking up earlier than your call time to suss the
Mhm.
stage, whereas you have ample time to like, cool, I need to run this long, or just
Mhm.
working it out manually without having someone to tell you, okay, cool, we may not have a tech rehearsal. Are you guys okay?
Mm.
You do have to be aware and prepared for that too.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
professional dancers, we have to adapt quickly and we have to take our own initiative as well to ensure that that 3-minute performance works seamlessly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then after that, we know if we have to go to row, we have to row. So during the entire evening from 4 o'clock onwards is pretty much tech into costume into hopefully you can see the stage into the routine into rove into packing down into well hopefully you make it home without dying, but yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is a long night, yeah, especially with these events. It was
Mm.
literally a whole day from you have to arrive by 3:15, your tech's at 4:30, but then you're performing at 7, so that's a very long wait.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like sometimes waiting too long for your gig may diminish your energy levels a lot because you're
Mm.
literally waiting for 3 hours, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But then you have to find yourselves to like you can stretch, you can do whatever you need to do. But finding ample time to fill that emptiness is great
Mhm.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
so my entire day was literally the first 6 hours, I guess, would be eating into hopefully rehearsal in my own head or job into gig, and I just don't eat from there.
You just eat when you
Yeah,
leave.
I'm like, once I'm at the gig, I'm like, cool, well, that's it for the next 5, 6 hours. I can't eat then. But then it's getting home after a long day like that is probably the hardest because obviously you still have to eat dinner, you still have to shower, you still have to pack down. And unless you have a gig the next day as well and you have to prepare another day, it is
Mm,
quite mentally draining when it's hard to even get out of your car.
yeah.
And you rock up at like, cool, you arrive home at 10:30 or 11 o'clock p.m. It's definitely hard to like, okay, I have to actually leave my car right now because I can't stay in my car watching my phone.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
And did you just do the one day at the Grand Prix, or did you do the
I
multiple,
did three.
the 3 days? Yeah, right.
Mm,
So you were literally like go and then stop and then go and then stop and then go and stop,
yep.
prepare.
Yeah, those three, especially with the day of Saturday being like I think it was 38 degrees.
Yeah,
We were outside and the heat was very impactful.
yeah, right.
um, and of course, getting there logistically, you have to get there early. Because it's such a massive event. I would
Yeah,
say like you have to be. I mean, I wasn't really sleeping during the night because I was thinking if I miss my train, if I miss all this, like
yeah,
especially PT. Yeah, if I miss the one train, there we go. I'm late, and I don't want to ever be late for that.
yeah,
But yeah, it was all 3 days, and I was definitely quite disorientated, or at least dehydrated. And as much as I tried to drink enough water, it wasn't helping that much, just
yeah,
because I
right.
wasn't really eating that much either.
Yeah, right.
Um, but then
How does
also
that
during,
go? How does that go with getting water? Because like obviously that's a very hot day, and then you're under
mm,
that suit. How do you maintain and manage your health in a way of making
yeah,
sure you're safe and drinking with still being in that character?
yeah. During those days, I mean, I mean, I don't really have much coffee, which is, I mean, because it is quite, I mean, I love coffee, don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. But then I do need something a bit more on the cooler side, like, and also with dairy as well, I don't really want to upset my
hmm,
stomach.
yeah, yeah,
So I rely a lot on, yeah, like Gatorade or that kind of powder, something a little, not sugary, but those kind of sports drinks to help me hydrate a little bit more faster.
yeah,
I also have a little bit of pre-workout whenever I can to get that spike of energy. I
yeah,
don't really, for me, energy drinks don't work. Just
yeah.
because, yeah, I tried and I was hyper for 5, 10 minutes and then I dropped.
You're
And you can't be dropping at the Grand Prix in a costume like that. So,
no,
I do rely heavily on a lot of nuts and a lot of fruit during that time as well. Just to have something sustained, something to digest, I guess.
yeah,
Um, and then yeah, like I try not to like look. People are like, oh yeah, you want to go out after? I'm like, I'm not going out. I'm
like
going home.
calm down.
Yeah, because honestly, like being in I think it was, yeah, definitely 35, 38 in direct sunlight in those kind of costumes, it does drain you so
Yeah,
much. Not even just physically, but definitely mentally, just to keep yourself. All
yeah.
of this,
Have
like this simple.
entertaining and yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
How long are you on for, and then how often do you have breaks, and then how long are the
Um, so maximum for roves is usually just 40 minutes for the 1 hour.
right?
Anything beyond 40 is quite dangerous and I don't think legal.
Yeah,
But then we also like workshop logistically cool, like how long does it take for us to get to the green room again? How long does it take for us to get to the green room without taking any photos? Because once we're off, and we're not technically off until we actually step foot in the green room.
yeah, okay,
Because there's people like, oh, one last photo, but then it'll be one last photo for like 60 other people, and
yeah,
sometimes you have to be quite blunt and like, look, we need to cut it.
done.
That's it. Yeah, we're done.
Yeah,
And we have 20-minute break, give or take.
okay,
Yeah, so at least will give us ample time to actually hydrate, to actually take a seat, to actually be under
yeah,
shade. Because
yeah,
those 20 minutes with the helmet off and the jacket off to have airflow and honestly just a moment for ourselves to come together again.
yeah,
That's really important. So yeah, 40 on, 20 off is usually pretty good.
yeah. And then after that 20 minutes, did you go straight into your routine, or did you go for another roving? Like, how does
With
it?
roving, yeah. So
Yeah,
for the Grand Prix, at the actual Grand Prix was more roving.
yeah,
For there's a fan festival as well at Melbourne
mhm,
Oval, which is really cool, and that was more into rove plus dancing on stage. So
yeah, right,
yeah, we mixed it up to keep it entertaining as well.
yeah, yeah. And how many sets of the roving did you do?
For the rove, I believe it was 2 hours. So I think it was two goes. Yeah, two goes.
Yeah,
At
yeah,
the actual Grand Prix, and the festival was 2 or 3 goes, on
Yeah.
and off, yeah. And it just really was dependent on the weather as well. And
Yeah.
also like logistically, like we don't want, above all else, our safety is obviously our main concern,
Yeah.
and we just want to make sure it worked because on Sunday was just torrential rains. It was just
And so it went from
came,
like one polar opposite to the other.
yep, literally, yeah. And again, like it's just adapting to the situation, and it goes. Like yes, you, I guess adapt. It goes to show
Yeah.
the professionals. We just work out like, cool. This is like sideways rain right now. I don't think
Mm,
it's safe to go out,
mm,
especially dancing on a stage where it's wet as well, with
yeah.
limited visibility and a wet stage, not even stable ground. It doesn't really scream safety.
Safety.
Yeah,
Yeah. What was the most exciting thing about working at the Grand Prix?
yeah. Working there. What was the most exciting thing? Honestly, just I've personally never seen the Grand Prix race itself.
Yeah.
So it's usually cool, do my thing and go home. But for us, we were in a different area this year, and I actually saw the races race, and it was really cool to see that in real life, to see how fast the actual drivers go, and to be a part of the adrenaline of the actual race itself.
Yeah.
Um, and I would love to have stayed back and seen the artists that perform at night. But
Mm,
honestly, once I saw the races, especially on the hot night, I was like, cool. I don't think I can stay till 8 p.m. anymore.
yeah.
Um, Especially since everything is like, like I've drained so much water. I've tried my best to stay awake. Because I just saw my mates there. It was really cool, and just trying to be a part and I guess absorbing the spirit of the Grand Prix. That was probably the most
Yeah.
exciting thing, to finally see the races after all this time.
Yeah.
Because I think the first time I did it, we were in a different area,
Yeah.
but which means we couldn't see the races. Um, because even at the Australian Open, we saw like cool the tennis players, and we saw some tennis, but I actually never saw at the Grand Prix. I never actually saw the main event, which was the races, of course.
Yeah.
Um, and that was really cool. I mean, I've always been interested in cars and racing when I was much younger. Then I realized how expensive cars were too. In life, yeah. Uh, so I just literally just stood afar. I'm like, cool, this is actually really cool. To actually see, the races for the first time. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, nice, nice. And what was the most challenging thing that you found working at the Grand Prix? Was it like listening, like trying to work with the noise and also communicate with your partner, or was it the like as you said, the elements like the heat, the rain? What was the most challenging thing that you found?
For us, I believe it's definitely the elements, the nature elements. The first day was okay. It was warm. It was just warm. I
Yeah,
mean, I've dealt with warm weather before, but then being on a polar opposite of this is scorching heat right now into
yeah,
torrential rain with with wind blowing from all sides. That was probably the hardest thing, because we had to also change schedules. We had to also adapt to make sure like cool, like this not is it really worth seeing our costumes literally melt or get drenched on
yeah.
for certain pockets of the event. And then that was probably the most difficult thing, just
Hmm.
because of how we can't control mother nature. So
Yeah, yeah,
no matter what we did, like we tried to make sure we did our job to make sure our clients were happy as well. But also we wanted to make sure that our dancers and our chaperone were all safe and comfortable as well.
yeah.
That's definitely the most challenging thing, the nature.
Yeah, because it impacts so many things. Like as you said, like you got to also look after your costumes, you got to also look after yourselves and all that kind of
Mm.
stuff. Like it's not just, suck it up and get out there. Like there's so
Yep.
many stuff that gets impacted. And you as well as, considering the client and making sure you deliver your job as well.
Mm.
Um, I can imagine, yeah, the weather doesn't make it easy.
Nah, because like in the end, the two workers, including myself, we have been doing this for quite some time, and
Yeah,
I do believe it's imperative and it's very imperative just to understand like we can't just go out because it's the job. No matter of money or no matter how important the gig is, if it's not safe and it could literally hurt you physically, mentally, it's not worth it.
yeah,
Our safety and our health is the most main priority and the most important priority. We can always adapt. We can always change things to ensure that the client is happy too. But the worst thing is for, like, say, if I was still going around 38 degrees in the heat, the worst thing is for me to literally faint and,
yeah,
well, I'm out. Like,
yeah,
quite physically, yeah.
yeah.
And that would be quite a weird sight to literally see a falling robot and just like they're not coming back up.
They're not going.
I
That's not part of the act.
Yeah, that's not funny. Yeah, he's actually gone. Do you have a medic? Yeah, so like definitely adapt. Yeah, that was a hot day. My gosh.
Yeah, no, fair. And how do you like prepare for like these massive events or even just roving? Like, say for
Mm.
example, no one's done like you haven't done roving before. What was
Yep.
your preparation to prepare for mass amount of audience, but then
Yeah.
also how do you rove and how do you work out how to move your body in a costume that you can't really have any visibility in?
Mm. I mean, the first time I did it, I was well trying to make sure I knew all the elements or how flexible the costume can be. So it
Mhm.
can once I knew my full range of movement, I would understand. Cool, I can't raise my elbow above my shoulder. I would just have to kind of high five down here, or maybe wave just like this. Or
Yeah.
once I know my actions, then I can sort of develop a character of what I can do. A semi routine in my head, so that's how I kind of go for it. I'm like, cool, I can't literally bend my knees to sitting position to a crouching position. So try not to go too low.
Mhm.
Or yeah, they kind of just once I figured out my range of movement, I literally go down the path of what moves I can do in the dance vocabulary and also in just a comedic acting world, and then develop a character off those actions.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like when I first did it, it is quite scary because when you have limited visibility and
Yeah.
constricted breathing. It's a lot to take in. But then once you understand, like, cool, all you need is just breathe. You're there to just have fun, but also create a time for the kids as well. That's pretty much what I imagine. And then families are great because they always want to take photos and
Yeah.
like want to see their kids smile. Sometimes you gotta get used to the kids crying because yeah, I mean our masks for like around like 3 to 4, 5 years of age may not be the most friendliest face, and we try to make sure we have human eyes watching, obviously. But
Yeah.
sometimes when our inner mask falls down our eyes and all you see is just black darkness through the mask, I can understand how terrifying that may be. But yeah, it's more like once you understand, like I guess your costume and what you can do, you can play
Mhm.
around with characters and what you can actually exhibit with your character's behavior as well.
Yeah, so you more go for like the storytelling of like your development of a character rather than
Yeah.
like this move, this move, this move, this move. Like
Yeah.
so you really driven by your character and your story rather than,
Mm.
movements.
Yeah, yeah. Because of what if the routine's different? I mean, the routine can be different once we understand what we're going to go for. If it's like a straight robot routine, or if it's a straight hip hop positive vibe
Mm.
routine. But in the character, yeah, I go for down like cool. I am a clown of some sort, and once I
Yeah.
develop a clown character in my head, I just portray that and like cool. I'll tap them on the shoulder and run, and just
Yeah.
depending on who it is, of course, you pick and choose your people you tap shoulders on. Yeah. But yeah, you just once my version is I develop a character and I just go
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, awesome. And how do you deal, because I know like a lot of people sometimes they don't also know personal space. How do you manage the people that come running at you and you're like, oh my goodness, this person's
Yep.
coming to like high five me or, come give me a hug. How do you manage that?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely been some situations where yeah, like I mean, it's an adults event, and like when you're late at night, drinks are going. Yeah, you see some characters come out larger than mine. So we definitely, I mean, obviously, we keep our safety as our main thing still.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I got asked to pick up people, and someone tried to pick up me. That was a that was
right.
a time. That was a time. I mean, honestly, they definitely could have because
Yeah,
they were absurdly strong. But we just like oh, like hey, we just do this. We can't do it too
yeah.
much. Like 'cause if you
Manipulate.
do yeah, because if we do joke around, they're gonna take that as a sort of invitation. Like oh, okay, they're joking around. That means we can sort of try and do this.
Yeah.
Um, sometimes you do have to put your foot down, and
Mhm.
sometimes you got to be like, look, I can't do it. Like or if you honestly, if we see drinks in their hands, we kind of like a stay clear situation.
Yeah.
You do have to be quite observant and honestly, like, look, realistically, if you have a swaying adult coming up to you with drinks like spilling over their drinks, we try to stay away from them because it doesn't really, even if we take pictures for social media, it doesn't really give a great vibe either.
Yeah.
So it does depend on the look of what you want to portray, not just as your character, but as the
Mhm.
company who
Yeah.
hires you.
Yeah.
just that maintain that level of professionalism. But honestly, I just put my foot down, and sometimes I'm quite blunt and I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, can't, or especially
Yeah.
when they want us to talk and we're not meant to talk. So we're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Right. Like
that
you
kind of stuff. Yeah.
kind
And
of
hopefully
thing.
they get it. And sometimes they'll be like, oh, cool. I'm literally going to run to another person.
Yeah.
Go.
You're like, bye.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes you can play it off that way, like, cool. Or I see someone, they're just very comedic and they're just going to go. And you just do what you can to not avoid, but try to like make sure, okay, I can't damage the costume or I
Yeah.
can't literally pick you up because first I'm gonna break something of the costume if I pick you
Yeah.
up. Um, yeah, so we try our best to be very aware and a
Mhm.
very observant, even if we have to do a full 360, as long as we know where
Yeah.
everyone is and what kind of area we're in.
Mhm.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. But then that comes over with time and maturity and
Mhm.
honestly, yeah, like the more exposure you do these kind of gigs, the better
Mhm.
you develop a sense of, okay, who's around me, where I'm at, what
Yeah.
places may not seem as safe.
Yeah. Like you learn on the job kind of thing the more you do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. And what was the atmosphere like at the Grand Prix? Like, did you find that you had a lot of those, intoxication people coming up to you, or was it more like a friendly vibe? Like, what was the
Uh,
atmosphere?
for this time, we're in the family-friendly area, so a lot of
Yeah.
families, a lot of kids. So we were in a very safe area. We didn't. We only rode during the day.
Mhm.
So there wasn't any evening shifts where yeah, where drinks were coming out and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. But yeah, like during the day, it was really say hi to the kids, high five the kids, take pictures of the with internationals who came over to literally just see the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was very safe, very different, and honestly very nice.
Yeah, nice. Very nice. And like in your perspective, what kind of performer do you think you need to be to pull off working at the Grand Prix or even just roving? Like, is there a specific person or is it just a skill that you can learn? Like, what's your perspective?
I mean, I definitely believe it's a bit of both. I mean,
Yeah.
my personal thing is I was never really an actor, definitely. I was more, yeah, of course, a dancer. So being a dancer helps because you can not hide, but like you can also use your dance skills to develop a character. Like, oh, cool, this
Mm.
guy can pop. You can do a little bit of popping, you can do a little bit of robot, and you just embody a robot persona.
Mhm.
Um, it like no one pedestrian can really just come up and just do this
Yeah.
for like 40 minutes. You do have to be quite aware of, look, I can't just keep doing the same movements and still give off a positive ambient environment, or energy.
Yeah.
Um, so definitely having high energy levels and having there's a performing aspect of some sort of an artistic character
Yeah.
definitely would help you in the raving world because you do sometimes need to make it entertaining for yourself too, especially when they say the audience isn't giving you much. You do have to kind of, cool, I'm just gonna make a movie in my head and act this out to pass the time, but
Yeah.
still give off a good positive environment as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is sometimes the great to vibe off the energy of the clients and the customers and all that. Or if they don't give you anything, you literally have to pull the energy barrel out and honestly create your own magic and your own fun as well.
Yeah. And you mentioned also like the cardio aspect of it, like when you are performing in those
Mm.
like big days. Do you reckon that also the fitness side of it is also very important to be able to do the roving work and work at an event such as the Grand Prix, or do you think it's not as important?
Um, I would say it would definitely help, just
Yeah.
because yeah, like you really need to move the entire time.
Yeah.
And you can't be like, cool, I'm gonna drop character for a minute and just go walk like a pedestrian. Like you can't do that, and
Yeah.
you never know who's watching. You never know if the client's watching from afar, and you'll never know which if a camera's on. So you want to make sure you can portray a character like the moment you step foot out the green room in costume, you're on, right?
Yeah.
So and of course, like it would make you seem like, cool, I want to hire this guy more because he's literally always on trying to
Mhm.
create a positive vibe. And I mean, it's our job to provide positive energy when there's no energy to be provided.
Yeah.
So I would say like trying to have a little bit of yeah, having an active personality and also lifestyle will definitely help you stamina wise
Yeah.
in the long run to especially when you're tired, like especially when you get to the point like, cool, I'm tired but I'm on, my
Yeah.
muscles are sore because I've been doing this for 40 minutes. But yeah, having sort of an active lifestyle helps
Mm.
for that,
Yeah.
definitely.
What is like one thing that you wish people understood about the behind the scenes and, working an event at the Grand Prix? Like, is there something that people might not be aware of that you're like, oh, actually, this is a lot more intense than people think?
Uh,
Really anything? Is it
yeah,
kind
I
of
mean, there's a fair few. Like, I would say, like, not like, I guess, like, for the audience or for people to understand, like, we're still humans and we're still
Mhm,
people under the costume.
mhm,
So there's been elements of, yeah, people, like, unfortunately, like, groping and all this kind of stuff. And, like, they need to be aware just because we're in a costume doesn't mean that you're allowed to do all these things and
yeah,
still exhibit inappropriate physical touch and behaviors.
yeah,
I mean, for us, it's not as bad, but unfortunately, for a lot of girls out there, it happens a lot just
yeah,
because, yeah, they're in a bit more open costumes. Whereas for us, yeah, we're still full body closed off, but it doesn't. I mean, it's happened to me a few times, and they just played it off because they either were drunk or even then, even if they weren't, they still did it anyway because, oh, hey, this guy's like a dancing robot,
mm,
and that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so that's probably the biggest thing I would want people to be aware that, yeah, like regardless of who we are, what we do, genders, and all that kind of stuff, we're still humans doing our job, and we still need to be respected, physical
mhm,
touch wise, and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Because
Like,
it does happen. Yeah,
yeah.
that's like literally it. Yeah, so like that's what I would say. Is the thing that I wish people knew behind the scene wise, like we can. I don't get touched that much, if that makes sense. But
Yeah,
it does happen, and sometimes I'm like, hey, you can't grab that, or like they try to grab and pick off scales of my costume. Like, you're literally picking up scales from my costume.
yeah, right. Like,
Yeah,
you can't do that, sir.
yeah, exactly. And kids, I understand. Like, if they're 3 or 5, I'll try
Mm,
to like, hey, you can't do that. But like grown adults, I'm like, come on, man, 'cause, like, you're a grown
respect
adult. Yeah,
it.
and you're probably older than me at this point. You need to understand that. Like, you can't be doing this, inappropriate behavior.
Yeah. No, no, that's fair. Um, well, what we like to do at the end of every episode is also ask the guests that come on if, if you think about the dancer listening to you, what's 3 things you would tell them that would help them work at events like this?
Um, oh, that's a good question. I would say like it's definitely very different nowadays though. Like, I mean, the reason why, I mean, not the reason, but like how I got in was very different. I mean, auditions were for this particular company was open, and
Yeah.
they were looking for, yeah, a guy that can literally do the hip hop sort of side.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays there's been in so many dancers out there that
Mm,
would really want to do obviously corporate work and just try and get their foot into the door. But there's just so many dancers out there. Of course, the best thing for me, I would say, like, keep working up to the right classes.
yeah.
Portray yourself to be a kind character because no one wants to work with a bad person.
Yeah.
This is what it is, like, and also like our world is so small. That means like, I mean, one wrong word or one wrong action, it could spread like wildfire, and you
Yeah.
don't know who that word would reach to. So, obviously, being a kind person and being because that would kindness for some reason in this world is very rare. True kindness, which is weird, which is weird. But being a kind, true, genuine person, rocking up to the right classes, honestly trying everything. Like, I mean, I'm technically not really I wouldn't classify myself as a jazz dancer or anything, but I'm trying to be a jack of all trades and go to classes that you may not feel comfortable with. And sometimes taking the class itself just to kill the class may not be the main objective. Just showing up, doing
Yeah.
what you do, and giving yourself your best chance to be seen,
Mm-hmm.
is the best way, I would say, to get into it nowadays.
Yeah.
But honestly, overall, just being a kind, genuine person is that's bloody rare, and people would really would want to work with people who are obviously professional. I mean, being professional at dance events is a given, but being a kind person and being a person that can adapt
Mm.
would be the main thing to work on, and yeah, get into this sort of world. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it.
No, amazing, amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and chatting through your perspective. You've really given, a really great insight to what it's like working at the Grand Prix. And, I think you definitely help a lot of people to understand both
Thank you.
dancers and also, people watching from afar, like what
Hmm.
the expectation is and all that kind of stuff. So thank you so much. I know you have a very busy schedule as well. So thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me and for touching base with me. I would love to see you again and speak to you all. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. We're definitely going to get you on for another couple of episodes. Definitely talking
Thank you.
about different
Yeah,
topics.
definitely. Yeah. Lovely to see you. And yeah, I guess I'll see you next time.
I'll see you next time.
Yeah.